Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. And now to honor America, please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast.
Come on, Samuel. Let's hear it. Come on, give me some energy.
5, episode
Come
8.
on.
I'm out of energy.
Oh, boy.
It was a big weekend.
Happy Devils Sunday. How about that? You like that one?
Well, half of the reviews on our podcast, on Apple Podcasts, the Sam Woo guy, his voice is so annoying. Other than that, I love the podcast. Stupid comments. Those are the stupid comments, but we are the most commented Devils podcast in the history of New Jersey Devils podcast, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. You can find us on Facebook at Let's Go Devils Podcast, on Twitter at Let's Go Devils Pod, and our YouTube channel, Let's Go Devils. Now, how's that,
right,
Scotty, of Sirius XM Liquid Metal?
That's pretty dang good right there. Although I just saw out of the corner of my eye, friggin' Matt Stafford just threw in there. Oh man, everyone on my fantasy teams is getting killed. But anyway, hey there, Sam Woo. How's it going? We had ourselves a nice little, we had a rough Friday, and then we had a nice Saturday, and we're coming back here on Sunday for the old big show. Me and you going to talk about the Devils at the 10-game mark, the old 10-game check-in, which our good friend Lou Lamorello used to like to say, right? Every check it in tens, see how it goes in tens, see how it is. It's not just one game, not just 2 games. See how it is after the 10th game. See those brackets of 10 and find your statistics and everything like that.
Well,
am I just making that up?
Speaking of 10. The Devils are technically above the 12% of their games played mark. 12%. Because I think 82. Yeah, 12%.
You're going to hit me with math? You gonna hit me with math this early in the show, Sam Wu? Really? Really? Can't you wait till we start doing all the goals per year and all the estimates and everything? You gotta hit me with math right off the top, man. Well, all right. Well, 12.67 Sam Wu percent is where we're at right now in the season, but it's after the old 10-game mark, which is a nice little stretch where you can go and you can look and see some of the old peaks and valleys and what's going on with the team, what's been good, what's been bad. And I think it's good to check in on our team, and see how they are doing, because we've had a couple clunkers, but most of them, they have been in and playing decent. Better than I think some people were giving them credit for, considering the fact we did lose a number one Jack Hughes the second game of the year. And by the way, Jack Hughes still has 10 takeaways in 2 games, which is just incredible. When you start looking at that stat and you see, it's like, oh, wow, Jack Hughes is, wow, that's a lot. How did he do that in 2 games? But anyway, can't wait till we get him back. But still, we are 5-3-2, 10 games into the season, 12 points in 7th place in the very, very stacked Metro Division, ahead of the Pittsburgh Penguins and tied with the old Icelanders, as the Schmooze likes to call them over there on the old WFAN fan back there. Oh, the old days. I don't get the fan
Metropolitans.
The Metropolitans are here, and now the Devils are on the ice. But we're at 7th place, 12 points, tied with the Islanders after 10 games. And, Sam Wu, do we want to start out with the obvious ones, or do we want to start out with who do we think has been surprisingly good? I got 2 of them for you. And it was just going over this. Oh, yeah. 2 of them, not people that you're expecting. Yeah, we're going to have to talk about Pavel Xhaka because he leads the team in goals and points. We got to talk about, former wide receiver from the Houston Texans, Andre Johnson, who has gone down the middle for another one. Stumbling, bumbling, rumbling all the way to the end zone for 4 touchdowns on the season so far. Been good. Been like a completely different player out there on the field. Between the hashes. Confident. Very confident. We got to talk about Dougie.
Yeah, I'm just saying, last year and this year, Andres Johnson is a completely different player.
Completely different player.
Yeah.
We got to talk about him, Dougie, Ryan Graves, and Dawson Mercer. But 2 players that had surprisingly positive statistics. I mean, we've all seen it in their gameplay, but sometimes they don't show up on the score sheet every single night. Jimmy Vesey and Michael McLeod. I didn't know this about Mr. McLeod, but I am going to pull up this. You know what? I was actually prepared for tonight. What do you know? And, of course, everything refreshes on me. So let's go back to right over here. Aha! So, Michael McLeod. Why aren't you working? Is at 59.9% in the face-off circle. That's 88-4, 59 he's lost. That's pretty impressive. Somewhere where we struggled mightily last season. And then Nico Hischier after that is next best on the team with 54%, which is no surprise. We know Nico is gonna perform like that. But Michael McLeod right now, after 10 games, 60% in that face-off circle. Now, both these guys, they have 2 points. But here's another interesting stat. We talked about this many, many times, Sam Wu. Michael McLeod, 15 hits. Jimmy Vesey, 19 hits. Wait, did I do that right? Yes. McLeod, 11 takeaways. Jimmy Vesey, 15 takeaways. This is what we talked about. Team getting tougher, being harder to play against. These are two guys that, they only have McLeod has 2 points. He's got 2 assists on the season. That's it. Okay? Jimmy Vesey's got 2 goals, 1 assist. He's got 3 points on the season. All right? So they're not going to light it up on the score sheet. You may not see them every night, but these are all those intangible things that the team was missing in previous years that has now made them very difficult to play against. And like we talked about, it hasn't happened every night, but the majority of the nights so far, we've been able to roll 4 lines. These 2 guys are a big, big reason why this team can roll those lines like that. Having that versatility down there, being able to rely on them. Like I said, I think I have it written down all crazy. Oh, no, wait. Ryan Graves is 19 hits. They both have 15 hits. That's what it is. And McLeod, 60% in the face-off circle. Jimmy Vesey also scored on that big breakaway. Penalty kill. They're also spending a lot of time on the penalty kill. 2 guys that when I went and I started looking at some of the statistics on it, you start saying, well, it seems like they're playing well, but what am I missing here? Well, maybe that's what I was missing, realizing that Michael McLeod is, operating at a 60% in the faceoff circle right now. Best on the team.
You know what? It doesn't surprise me, and I'll tell you a reason why. The faceoffs has been a big problem on this team for the last few years. And if anybody that's ever taken a faceoff, playing ice hockey inline, the Devils are generally a very, very young team. That tells me that Nico, Mikey McLeod, especially from what you're saying, not only have worked on their craft, but when you start putting some muscle on that frame, and you have the agility to take a face-off and have success and win, that will come with time. And I would expect an upward trend with the New Jersey Devils on the face-off percentage. What I don't know, and I don't know if you have those stats in front of you, Scotty, is why the penalty killing face-offs have been so bad. I believe Bryce Salvador put that out there, but do you have that stat in front of you by any chance?
I don't have that stat in front of me, but I can tell you that shorthanded this year, of the forwards, disregarding, Ryan Graves, Siegenthaler, and Severson, just the forwards, Jimmy Vesey's number 1 and McLeod is number 3, right behind, Gauthier. For shorthanded time on ice. Okay. 24 minutes, 53 seconds for Vesey. McLeod, 21 minutes, 43 seconds. So
I'll look up some stats here.
These face-off, wins, it's very, it's very nice to see. And then again, McLeod, 11 takeaways. Vesey, 13 takeaways. That's a differential of 6 for Vesey and 6 for and 10 for McLeod. McLeod's only got 1 giveaway on the season. I'm looking, by the way, at the TSN page just for statistics, because it's very easy and organized over there. But they were 2 guys that I thought, out of the obvious choices, like I said, the Pavel Xhakas, the Ryan Graves, we're going to talk about them as well, because they've actually, they've performed very well. Pavel Xhaka's he's on pace for 41 goals this season. I don't know if you know about that. His 5 goals in 10 games. That's every other game out there. So he's on this rapid fire pace, but we'll talk about that. And also, really think a lot of credit's got to go to Jonathan Bernier. We got to talk about him in between the pipes, reading the plays, really being solid back there with Mac Black, not being back at the start of the season. Nico Dawes coming in, real quick there for a 2-game stint. But Bernier has really, much like he did with the Red Wings. The Red Wings were a terrible team, and he kept them in a lot of nights. We're a bit better. than them. But Sam, I was wondering if you had any other surprise, maybe on defense or anything like that, anyone that really stuck out to you in a way that, you didn't maybe realize at first, like me with old McLeod. I'm just used to Beer Baron, like we're just like, oh yeah, Mikey McLeod. But you take a deeper look, and oh hello.
You know who surprised me quite a bit, and we're talking about surprises. I'm not saying the best player on the Colton White. It seems like Colton White has played very well, both AHL and NHL level for the Comets and Devils. He seems to be very fluid out there. That's one of my, one of those big surprises. I mean, we all knew what Dougie Hamilton and Ryan Graves would bring to the table. We knew what Jaros brought, Siegenthaler. I think Siegenthaler has been very steady. PK has been inconsistent, but he's starting to put it together as of late. The last few games, maybe it's because he's on the road. I don't know, but I would say Colton White filling in, playing that role. I just don't see him making mistakes that often. Are you seeing the same thing that I'm seeing? I just don't hear his name being, like butt puck, where his name is all over the place.
I think he just, Colton, he just doesn't have enough games under his belt to really have I feel like a fair assessment of him. I think he's done well in his limited play, and he would be someone that I would label as an incomplete. I don't know. With Colton, I would prescribe Dr. Scott over here. I think I might prescribe more time at down at Utica, but it could be that he is up there because I believe. Was it Jaros hurt his hand the other day? I don't know if there was a lot. We didn't really talk about that, and I didn't even realize it as well. IR. Yeah, so we might be seeing a lot more of Colton White. So you know what? I got to change my old the old RX there. I got to change my prescription and say 10 more games at the big club, kid. That's what I'm prescribing for old Colton White. And let's see where we stand after that. Can he fit in on one of those bottom pairings like that? On the side of PK might be even moved up. So with Dougie out, we got to see how long Dougie's going to be out. But okay. Let's talk about, because I see on the old Facebook page, I see VC, I see Andre Johnson. We'll talk about PK. Yes, a lot of VC on there. How about anyone on YouTube Live or Twitter Live? Any for surprising or just shock a little bit?
No, not yet, but let's ask YouTube Live to chime in. But I can see on Facebook Live, Adam Morgan said that White's been solid in Utica.
Yeah. No, Utica's been great. 7 in a row. 7 in a row now. Even without Alexander Holtz down there. Yeah, I mean, woo! They are looking great. Well, let's talk about some of these obvious ones then. Sam Woo, and I think we could start out with someone who has really improved his play. We talked about it last season, and I was a little bit worried when we heard that he was going to get moved back to center, but he still performed well, and that's Pavel Xhaka, who is leading the team with 5 goals, 7 points as well. I'm sure he's going to chip in a little bit more on the assist side eventually, but this is what we'd like to see from him. At the elder statesman age of 24, okay, he is now a veteran. Being in the league since he was 18, though, he's a veteran. You can't buy this type of experience that he has now, and he's not really. It looks like he's playing more like a couple years down the road. Like, not every 24-year-old can play like this. So he looks responsible. He looks like he's in his positions out there. I don't see him, knock on wood, getting caught. Not in the lanes. I see a lot of good back checks from him. I've seen a lot of good outlet passes from him. Some wicked ones they were behind the goal in that one game. I feel like all around he has been the most solid player on the team. Offensively, I feel like he comes to play every night. He's creating chances. He's not fallen into a a pass, he's got a shot. He's got a wrist shot. He's got a nasty wrist shot. Keep shooting, kid. He doesn't seem like he's lost any sort of confidence or anything like that. Also, Pavel Xhaka, 12 hits on the season. Like seeing that from the big fella, because we know, oh man, a fly got in here.
Oh no!
This is Winston, does not. I don't know. I open the door and then he wants to stand at the doorway before he goes outside, and I'm like, come on, you're gonna let all the bugs in. And sure enough, there's a fly. I'm gonna have to do the Mr. Miyagi chopsticks at some point, or notebook. Probably more like notebook swing. Bam.
Like Matt Black.
Yeah.
A snappy glove.
But Pavel Xhaka, 12 hits. Love seeing that. He hasn't taken a lot in the faceoff circle because he has been playing wing most of the season. I like what I've seen so far from him. How about you, Sam Wu? How about one of your top, offensive players so far after 10 games? Or anything else on Pavel Xhaka?
Well, Pavel Xhaka looks comfortable now in the NHL. It's amazing his progression, being the 2015 pick, I believe 6 overall. And that 2015 draft was a guy just got traded, Jack Eichel. I believe he was in the same draft class. Connor McDavid basically took every single New York Rangers defenseman to school the other night. And then you have Pavel Xhaka, and then you have Matthew Barzal afterwards. All these great players. I'm so happy and pleased that Xhaka, I wouldn't say he's a late bloomer, but he progressed steadily. And now he's looking like that big player that can get you 30 goals a season. And can push other players off the puck and win those key battles. Would I want him down the middle at center? Yes, because that's what I thought he was projected as a big centerman. The big centerman since Holik, that could be as effective. But right now, I'm happy with him at the wing and how he's playing. And I think if he keeps this up, he's deserving of a nice extension with the New Jersey Devils. I mean, some of us, they got a little anxious, wrote him off. I was one of them. But at the same time, it was too early on to really harp on him. Only because I harped on him is because you see the other draftees in that class that were picked ahead of him. And you know what? And I apologize to Pavel. You know what? It was too premature at the time. You wanted the best for him. And then that little contract dispute, which eventually got settled. And I'm like, he's not worth that much. He should be paying us to be on this team. But now he has proven his worth. And I would totally expect him to cash in because right now he's been a very steady player. Also, we talk about Andres Janssen. We've talked about Dawson Mercer, Jimmy Vesey as the sprite, Mike and McLeod. But also, we haven't really talked about Nico Hischier. I think Nico Hischier, if you watch him throughout the game, even when he doesn't have the puck, he's doing all the right things. I think the numbers are going to eventually come for him, later on in the season. But I'll never forget him, in one of the first 10 games, hunched over in tremendous amount of pain, but willed the Devils with a game-tying goal and just sucking it up. And that's what I'm come to expect to see out of Nico Hischier game in and game out. The way he handled last season, where every bit of bad luck was thrown his way, that he didn't stop. And I noticed that the games that the Devils have lost, some of it was, against the Calgary Flames. They didn't show up in the first period. But luckily for us, it's been more rare that they don't show up in the first period than last season. But you noticed in the third period, the games that they had to play catch up, it was Nico Hischier and even Andres Janssen that have trying to spark a fire to get the team going offensively and trying to, and a couple games like against LA, Pavel Xhaka force overtime. When they were down, when we thought they were, they were dead and out. And that's something that's going to, I'd like to see that trend continue. Not so much being behind in the game, but seeing that no quit attitude. And you can also transfer that no quit attitude and your foot on the gas pedal to also closing a game out when you're up 3-1 or 3-2. Because closing a game out has been such a problem in the last 10 years with the Devils. But I'm seeing the captain doing things that it just eventually the entire team will emulate over time. This is a young team. It will take time. That's all. I just wanted to.
No. I agree. I feel like, if Dr. Scott was going to give another prescription, I'd say 10 more games at the old NHL level and see where we stand. Because I agree with you. I feel like Nico is doing all the right things. The goals just aren't bouncing in for some reason just yet. And I see him just relentless on that forecheck nonstop. And he's always seemed to be parking himself in front of that net, on the power play. I really feel like it's just been some bad luck. I really agree. And I do feel like the numbers are going to come for him.
I'm not worried about him whatsoever. I think the numbers will come eventually. I just think that right now he is shouldered on the leadership role of this team. And sometimes, especially young players, they take a hit in the statistics department. Remember, I'm not a numbers guy. I hate analytics. I like what I'm seeing, what he's doing, because some players, again, this is where numbers do not show up on the stat sheets or in one of these scouting reports or analytics people, because I think it's all BS. What I'm seeing out of Nico Hischier right now is he's doing all the right and little things out on the ice, and that, again, that will come in time, but it's one of those things where, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought because I had it and then I lost it. I'll just admit it. I screwed up here. I had a good thought, but rather than BS it even more and stretch it out till I remember my thought.
I think maybe you had a good thought with him, like maybe, with Dougie out, with Jack out, maybe taking a lot of that, leadership pressure on. And yes, he's handling it, but maybe out there, just
look at
squeezing the stick a little bit too, just squeezing the stick like a little bit too tight right now, on some of those tips in front of the net. Like they're just not bouncing in for him. But I really do believe that in 10 games from now, when we look at it, I think we're going to see, his stats, those sort of things start picking back up again.
Now I remember what I was going to say. Just remember Scott Stevens. All right. When Jacques Lemaire came, his first season with Jacques Lemaire was awesome. He was a Norris Trophy numbers, in that 94 season. But you saw some of the decline in his numbers. And this is where, again, I would say this is where all these statistics, you don't believe everything you read. But like Scott Stevens was an impact player in that locker room that made everybody better. There are some captains in the NHL and NHL history, and I hate to say his name. Mark Messier is one of them. The great Steve Yzerman was one of them. That I would say Jonathan Taves as well. That their presence, their attitude makes everybody better, and that is worth more than Nico Hischier putting up 40 goals and 38 assists, a year. I'd rather see Nico lead this team because he has that no-quit attitude where, I mean, I remember a couple years ago, MSG Networks had, a camera on Nico, and he got speared from behind, and the Devils were out down 4-0, and he's dropping F-bombs, but obviously you can't hear it, but you can read his lips, and he, in the next 10 minutes, he scores like 2 unanswered goals, just like that, just to, cut the lead in half, just like that. And I like that stuff, but anyway, but I think Nico Hischier, I think towards the end of the season, I think those numbers are going to be there, and they're going to come in bunches. That's all.
All right. Okay. No, I think as well. I think that Nico will improve his face-off. Like we said, 54% right now, 11 takeaways. He's playing a lot on the penalty kill as well. We got to talk about that. Our special teams has been very bad. But before we get there, we got to talk a little bit on the defensive side as well. And of course, Dougie Hamilton leading the way over there. 6 points, 8 games played. Came out like a ball of fire in that first game. What was it, like 15 seconds in, scores a goal. Everyone just blew 17. The roof off the rock. 17 seconds in there. Unfortunately, we haven't seen him the last 2 games, but it shouldn't be a long injury. He'll be back, leading the defense again. He had a bunch of takeaways as well, and a lot of time on the power play. And he just brings, a great offensive threat there for them. I mean, so like I said, 6 points in 8 games is pretty good for a defenseman. And then you get Ryan Graves as well, who has just been an absolute beast. I know I have it written down here somewhere, Samu, or maybe I forgot to write it down. But where is it? Oh yeah.
You want me to stall for you? Like how I stalled?
No, no, it's right there. Him and gotta say Damon Severson. Ryan Graves has been a shot blocking machine. He's got 21 block shots on the season so far. So does Damon Severson. I got to put that out there. And Dougie Hamilton's got 14. Nico's also, by the way, got 8. We've seen Nico do a lot of those blocks up on the top of the point on the penalty kill and stuff like that. But Ryan Graves, 5 points, 10 games. He's a +7 playing all those top line minutes. 19 hits, leads the team, 21 blocks. I don't know how much more you can ask from this guy, in the first 10 games. Like, for me, Pavel Xhaka has been our MVP on offense, and on defense, it's been Ryan Graves. I mean, I feel like he has really made a big difference. We're talking about VC and McLeod making it harder to play against. Ryan Graves makes it a lot harder for other teams to play against us. I mean, he's just out there like a rock, seriously, just pounded people, blocking those shots, getting in the lanes, making an NFZ like we've talked about, and stepping up on the offensive side, especially the last game with Dougie out. Ryan Graves stepped up and scored a goal. Beautiful feed from Nico Hischier. Buried it. Yeah. Put it home. That's what we wanted to see. I think he's been a great leader so far with Dougie on defense. But if I had to pick, an MVP so far, over a little 10-game MVP here for the month of October and 1 game in November, I'm going Pavel Xhaka on offense, and I'm going Ryan Graves on defense. How about you, Samu?
Yeah, Dougie Hamilton, I mean, he said this before in the interview, and I was happy that sometimes I'd like to hear the personal side of some of our star players, saying that reason why he came to New Jersey is because, he felt wanted, and the fans love Dougie Hamilton, and the big concern I had was something like of Nico Hischier is the role going to be too burdensome, where he's going to hold the stick a little too tight, or is he not going to be scoring right from the get-go? It took 17 seconds to make that all go away. Dougie Hamilton is,
he's in his prime. That's not going to bother him. Now he knows what he's doing. Dougie, listen, Dougie has done great so far as well. I'm just giving a little 10-game trophy to Ryan over here. But Dougie is he's been just as well.
Glad
great leader
that
too.
Dougie Hamilton, and you're a New York Mets fan. I'm just glad that Dougie Hamilton is not Francisco Lindor, where there was all this expectation. He's met every single expectation, and he's coming to a team that he knows still has some challenges, but the reward will be there in the end. He realized it's going to take times.
I don't think it's going to take too long, though. You're already seeing the reward. Yes, and then we'll talk maybe a little bit about PK and Siegenthaler and Damon Severson as well. But one thing that's been troubling with this team, I think, one thing that's been really good. We talked about it the other night about season themes. One thing that's been really good is their ability to come back and score goals and not feel like they're really out of any game. Even, the Washington one, they got smoked, and the Anaheim one, they got smoked. But even with Calgary, they came back and they put 3 goals up there in the third period. So there's a lot of fight in this team. However, Sam Woo, much like last year, our special teams are atrocious. Right now, our power play is at 9.7%, and our penalty kill, even though you got Ryan Graves and Severson out there with a nice amount of blocks, still power play only operating at 73.2%. So what do they have to do to get these special teams going? What's going wrong on the special teams so much where it's like, oh, we took a penalty? That's okay. Why don't you just stay out of the box and we'll just play 5-on-5 and we'll let it roll like that. We should be lighting it up on our power play. What is going on here?
They need to create chaos. We talked about this last night on Devils After Dark. Let's start off with the power play. The Devils get themselves in trouble when they start playing the perimeter game and working the puck around, but there's no chaos. There's no traffic in front of the net. I'm a big proponent of your forwards. If you're going to be in front of the net, and I'm not talking about, just standing there. I'm talking about constant motion, constant buzzing. You want the goalie to second guess himself, and also when there's constant motion, constant buzzing in front of the net, the goalie has to look for the puck. And also, I think the Devils are at times are looking for that perfect shot because they're so skilled. Some of these young players that oftentimes it's just better just to
let it rip.
Yeah, but let it rip. But that's my point. Just put it on net. It doesn't have to be the perfect one-timer, like when Jesper Bratt, when he broke his stick. Take a little off on it. Sometimes it's actually better. It's, in baseball, it's called a changeup, with the pitcher. When you're on the power play, you want different looks, a lot of chaos in front of the net, and you want your defense to also get involved, take risks. I don't mind it if Dougie Hamilton or Ty Smith start to take the pinch down below and take the buck to the net or get behind the net, get things moving. Because, and it was what one commenter on the YouTube Live said, they look static, and that's not good. Great power plays have such movement, not by one, but all 5 players on the ice. And that's what they need to do. If you look at them on 3-on-3, they look fantastic in overtime. Most nights. They look fantastic. Reason why? is because
except for
there's
like
a lot of room.
5 seconds of that LA game, just like 5 seconds of that LA game. But other than that, it was good. Yeah.
And to that point, reason why is, well, there's a lot of room, obviously, 3-on-3, but if you look at what the Devils do, 3-on-3, they move and they move fast, and they're not thinking; they're overthinking it. You only have so much time to react 3-on-3, and if on the power play, if they can just move the puck around faster, but also the forwards in front of the net, get in there, cause some chaos, and again, the penalty kill, we've been over this many times. I think the NFZ has been improved. Again, they haven't been consistent playing their positions, as what we say, Scotty. You can't expect the Devils to not get avoid the penalty kill by not getting a penalty. No, they are going to get penalties. It's inevitable. And even if the Devils were a perfect team, the refs suck. They're going to call back calls anyway. So that's not going to work. So that's like wishful thinking. But I would expect it to improve more. But oftentimes, you ever notice a lot of those goals that were scored on the kill were simply that they try to chip the puck out, but the defenseman on the other team somehow saves it, the puck from going over the blue line, keeps it in the zone, puts it on net, and suddenly, boom, boom, the other team scores. Have you noticed that? Like it always seems like on a play where they're trying to clear it out, and the other defenseman would somehow keep it in.
They keep it in. Yeah, they keep it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then they're scrambling, and then that's what happens. Yeah. Okay. One thing I do say, though, is that, like we were talking about, one positive is, their ability to come back. Although it has been getting alarming with them liking to play from behind. I wish they would like to play with a lead a little bit more often and come out with that jump. But I will say that really there's only been those two. I mean, you could count the Calgary game, but I do feel good that they came back and they scored in that game. Yeah, they got trounced by Washington and Anaheim, and that's actually one thing as well I wanted to mention. I noticed this. When I was looking at some of the stats today, the 3 power play goals. Yes, the Devils have only scored 3 power play goals in this season out of these 10 games. 3 power play goals. They happened in the Washington game, which was like, who cares? The Calgary game, which was who cares as well. And then the Buffalo game, which was actually, a very tight game that the Devils won 2-1. So special teams really need, it's good. It's always good getting a power play goal, but it's nice getting the power play working in those 2-1 games, those 3-1 games, not when you're down 5-0, at the start of the third period. Yeah, you put one home. Cool. But, when it matters the most, that's when we want our power play to be the most effective. So I don't know. Just like the other night, what was it, just before the 2-minute warning when Andre Johnson got that, pass interference penalty against him. Been nice to put one home there, but whatever. That's something that they definitely have to work on, I think. Why don't we talk also about, because we really haven't touched on it just yet, goaltending. Jonathan Bernier has been, in my estimation, and I'm just a dude here. I'm giving him the horns up. I'm giving him the horns up for a 2.55 goals against and a .910 save percentage. That's a lot better if you go back and look at the goaltending totals from last year, okay? Significantly better. I think he's played well. He's already battled through an injury. We saw a quick glimpse of Nico Dawes, who is now back at the wonderful Utica Comets training and performance facility. Yes, having a darn good time with the Utica Comets where he should be. Check them out, 7-0. Right? Yeah, undefeated.
Yeah,
They haven't
7-0.
lost yet.
Yep.
Yeah, 7-0. But I feel like Jonathan Bernier, and we've talked about it a few times, if he can stay healthy, 4 wins already on the season. 4 of our 5 wins are from Jonathan Bernier. If he can keep that going, I think that's going to be a huge bonus to this team. This is what we envisioned, obviously, the previous year when we signed Corey Crawford, to have this veteran goaltender, someone with a little more experience as well, to kind of be that 1A, 1B. And it didn't work out, and we were kind of just, throwing things at the wall and see what stuck in goaltending last year. It wasn't good. Hey, more power to you, Scott Wedgwood, as well, getting that win in Arizona. Listen, he stood on his head at times for us last year because the defense was atrocious. I don't even know how they got through it. We've been through the 2020. We're moving on, But Jonathan Bernier, I think, has really helped solidify this team on the back end, and also gives confidence to this young team as well on the defensive side, knowing that they will be bailed out every now and then on some of these, and Bernier, I mean, you could see him. He is moving so well in the crease, side to side, reading the plays. Like we joked around, like Tom Brady, reading defenses over there with Andre Johnson going out for a pass. He's just been very good. And we'll see more from Mac Black, now that he's back. He got the victory there in San Jose, which is nice for him. But we'll see more from him, but it's not going to be too much on him as well. It won't be too much pressure with Bernier. It's nice to have him there. But then also with Mac Black, you don't have to worry about Bernier getting too run down.
Yes.
Because we know he does have some
combo.
Yeah, use it to your advantage. Not too much pressure on Mac Black. Not too much workload on Jonathan Bernier. You can really, really balance this out through the course of the season. Now that Mac Black is back, we're gonna have to find some more goaltending depth, by the way, because Wedgwood did get claimed by Arizona. So oh man, they've been struggling. Was it 10 in a row they lost, or was it 9 that they lost? It was 10, right? I think they lost 10. I think they were 0-10.
Oh, I don't know.
Wow. They don't call him the greatest sports producer in the history of the world for nothing, folks.
Well, I want to answer this question because it's on the Facebook Live. Craig
You don't even get the Major League reference, do you? They don't call him the best color commentator in the business for nothing, folks. You remember that when Bob Uecker would ask him?
No, I remember.
Man, Sam Wu.
I
Sam
remember.
Wu.
No one's listening.
No one's listening anyway. You can't say that on the air. No one's listening anyway.
The hell with them. Craig Vess asks, Tatar has been ? Steve Tartar says Tatar has been missing. I got an opinion because I was when we were preparing for the podcast tonight. I was looking through the lineup. Tomas Tatar. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about him one bit. Guys like Tatar is kind of like Paul Mary. They come in bunches. What I do look for is how is he playing every night? Is he going to be another Gusev where it's a 2-year deal? Next year he sent somewhere else. I don't think he's even close to being like what Gusev was. He doesn't look lost on the ice.
We didn't even get through 2 years with Gusev. We didn't even make it that far.
Yeah, Tatar doesn't look lost on the ice. He's had some great chances. It's just a matter of give it some time, have him build chemistry, and
that's another thing to point out. Remember those first 3 games there where we were on fire before Jack got hurt. We started to see some real chemistry with Janssen, Dawson Mercer at center, and Tatar there on the third line. And as soon as Jack went down, everything's been kind of shuffled. I've worried a couple times. I mean, even the last time, like, this is getting a little Heinzian with the line changes here. I'm like, come on, Lindy, don't start doing the old Heinz ketchup over here and shuffling everything up, shaking it up. Gotta shake that bottle up, hit the side, make sure it's nice and messed up. If no one knows that, that's a little restaurant trick. If you have a Heinz bottle, you tap the 86 that's on the bottle, and the ketchup will come out.
Yeah,
If
I
you
know.
don't know that.
I knew about that. No, I knew that.
Oh, you know
I
that?
just don't know movies.
You don't know Major League references, but you know about the 86 ketchup bottle thing? All right, fine.
Hey, let me tell you
Jeez.
something. When it comes to food, I know a lot about food.
All right.
I know about the bolognese that got us the victory.
Know about the pasta bolognese, Penny bolognese from Enzo's. Go
Yep.
check it out. And the world famous catfish from Taj Lounge. You know, come on. Can't go
Tuesday
wrong.
night against the Panthers. Wow.
Don't piss them off, all right? Come on. Don't piss them off. I do believe Tatar needs another 10 games just to get himself situated here. Again, just like Sam Wu said, not as concerned with him being a veteran. It doesn't, like he said, it doesn't look like he's lost out there. He's not causing or taking a lot of bad penalties. He's not doing anything like that. So, I see him kind of getting into the mix on things, and like you said, creating some good chances. But they have been the lines have been jumbled around a lot since Jack went down. So hopefully, with Holtz up, maybe they can now get some stability. You put Xhaka, I guess, in the center as well. So we'll see where they go with that. I guess another big one we should mention is Yegor Sharangovich.
I was about to say
because a lot of people have very high expectations for him coming in. And let's not forget, Igor was a rookie. It was, first year that he was doing that. We shouldn't maybe put too much on him. And he did, start a little slow last year, and then he kicked it into high gear. But a lot of the stuff started happening when him, Jack Hughes, and Yanni Kuokkanen got together. We've seen... Without Jack, Igor looked a little lost there for a couple games. Same thing with Yanni Kuokkanen, but Kuokkanen scored on the last game. They looked a little better with McLeod in the middle, having that stable center. And you know what that reminds me, too, is the first one that I feel like really turned it around last year was when Travis Zajac went in the middle of Kuokkanen and Sharangovich. And all of a sudden there was a spark there. So maybe they just needed to find that spark. And it seems like this last game, like it kind of lit up again. Yanni, is going to grind it out there. Sharangovich has got a shot. I think, am I mistaken? Didn't he rip one off the post? I think it might have been off the outside of the post, but it seems like he's getting that confidence back. He's starting to get himself into position more. I did see a really good, I think, forecheck, I believe, from him as well on his own, like down in the corners. So I feel like his game is getting there. And again, same thing with Tatar. You're not hearing about Sharangovich or Yanni really like blowing any coverages, being out of position, defensive assignments. You haven't really been hearing them in that sense, which, we commented it because they were been kind of invisible, so to speak, out there on the ice for a little bit, but at least it wasn't in a negative way. So they were playing solid in that sense, but we know we want to see more contributions from them, especially Yegor, who does have such a wicked shot. And I don't know, when Jack comes back, we'll see. We'll see where we are at that point. But put him reuniting them might be a good thing, or maybe just sticking them with McLeod. But see, the thing is, I really did like the VC McLeod dynamic, which eventually Lindy did go back to. So we'll have to see what's coming up.
Yeah. And don't forget, some of the Braun and some of the players that you don't hear too often, like Geertsen, playing forward.
He's been
defense.
playing forward and defense, having a little versatility there, and being a big boy who, sometimes can go out there and like Lemieux was, I think he was getting under Lemieux's skin instead of the opposite way around. Lemieux getting under his.
He neutralized him because he's a pest. We know everything about his dad. It's like if he's going to act like a pest, we'll send our pest.
I thought he did a good job. And you know what I saw him do? I saw him very, very wisely skate away. from those situations. Lemieux's getting all testy, and Mason Gearston very wisely boop, 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 skated away to the bench.
Yep.
Because we all know it's always the guy afterwards that gets caught on those things. So I think he did a great job. And like I said earlier in the season, he filled in on the fourth line there for one game. But it's nice having that depth because, like we said, Jaros went down with a hand injury. You know, you call up Colton White, you still have Mason Gearston as well that you can work into the lineup. Another good, young kid.
Yeah,
I like it. I mean, I like the depth. I can't say like really anything, bad about his game that I saw. It was limited minutes, but what he did the way I would expect him to do it. Unlike Damon Severson punching someone in the face with a stick right in front of the referee. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. The way Mason Gearston pissed off Brandon Lemieux and then skated to the bench and then kind of gave him a little wave, a little smile and everything. They couldn't do nothing about it. That was the way to go about it, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And it's good having Mason Gearston. He may not play, every game this season, but he can hold his own there on that bottom pairing, and he provides that toughness and that extra confidence for our team as well. So, and
wait,
throw him up in there in that fourth line.
You said toughness. Didn't I complain
about
that all of last season? That toughness. Mm-hmm. And what about Jesper Bratt?
And what do we talk about?
Games.
McLeod and VC, getting all those hits. Ryan Graves, Mason Gearston, Dougie Hamilton. These are all bigger guys. Don't forget. Oh, yeah. Did you forget about number 44 coming back as well? Miles Wood. He's going to be back soon. That's more toughness. Can you? Well, I don't know. I just made that up, but I mean, he will be. He will be. I don't have his latest medical status right now.
I have no idea.
But I can see him. I can see him running out of the little hospital. Remember, like on Tecmo Bowl, when the guy would come back from the injury, they would run out of the hospital. I feel like Miles Wood's going to do that soon. Think about that combination of a Miles Wood, Michael McLeod, Jimmy Vesey line.
Woo! Yeah, what
think
would
about
we call
that?
It?
Just look out. That's what we're going to call it. Crash Line 2.0 right there. Those guys are going to be on fire, if they come back like that. We're going to see, obviously what Lindy decides, because we all know I'm an idiot. I didn't want Damon Severson in the shootout the other night, and Lindy was the smart man who put him in there, and he scored. So whatever Lindy says, we're going to go with. But, Miles Wood will be back as well. That's more speed. A lot more speed right there, and another big guy, more toughness, like Sam Wu was talking about.
Yeah, I like toughness to go along with talent. And I think as a report card, first 10 games, scouting report, I think the Devils, what we've found out and we can confirm, they're more well-rounded than they were last year.
Definitely.
They added beef on defense. They
actually played defense this year. This year, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's always nice when
VC is kind of like, fighting for his NHL career is what he said, but he kind of reminds me of Brian Boyle, on that fourth line, kind of like bringing that, some in the clutch, the difference maker. I mean, scoring that shorthanded goal probably gave him a lot of confidence, and he's always attacking, VC. And again, I trashed this guy since the Rangers got him, but I'm glad he's kind of turned it around because, you know what, you can't win in the NHL on talent alone. You really have to work at it, work hard.
He kind of reminds me of a faster Bobby Holik. Very tough to play against, very hard-nosed to play against. Obviously, Bobby was the center, of course, but just I don't know. I get that grit and that determination and that hard hustle play from Jimmy Vesey. Like we talked about here, 13 takeaways. Breakaway goal that was off of a takeaway, shorthanded.
Yep.
15 hits. Massive penalty kill time. He's played really, really well. Much better than I thought he was going to, that's for sure. And Michael McLeod right there behind him, like we talked about. Those face-off wins, huge.
Yeah.
And Nico with the face-off wins. Want to see Nico put some more home. Same thing with Jesper Bratt. Feel like Jesper Bratt has woken up. That benching there, that period benching kind of just snapped him into shape. And, he found a little bit of his game because he was struggling.
Yeah.
And that happens sometimes in the beginning of the season. Ty Smith right now, I feel like, is struggling. He hasn't got his game 100% yet from being out, from no training camp, everything else. So he'll get there. He's another one I would say we prescribe another 10 games and see where we stand after that. Because I think we're going to see a much better Ty Smith as he gets more comfortable getting back into the swing of things. And I'm going to say I'm going to give the Devils a pass for these first 10 games. 5-3-2, 12 points. I'm going to give them, do we have to give like a letter grade, A, B, C, D? Or I guess I give them maybe like a B, B minus, something like that.
Well, I give them
a B minus.
I'm going to be a jerk and say C plus.
Okay. They are basically average. If you look at all this, if you look at all the NHL averages, they're like right there at NHL average. So it's C plus is actually probably a much more accurate view.
But if they shore up, say if the next 10 games, their penalty kill has a success rate of like 92%. That C plus will easily get to a B plus to A minus range alone if everything else stays the same 5-on-5. We haven't seen.
Please, sweet Ozzy score more than 3 power play goals as well, though. Can we ask for that? Maybe like 5 power play goals. Can we get to 5? All right. Okay.
I like to take one step at a time. The silly thing about this team before we, because right now on the top of the hour, that the silly thing about this is this team has not played together all at once since day one. Severson was out, Ty Smith was out opening night, Mac Black was out.
Then Jack, then
Jack
then
was
Dougie.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jaros was kind of an extra as well. And also, real quick, because I kind of forgot about. Well, no, go ahead. Say your meme. Sorry, I don't want to.
Not meme. I saw a tweet. Jack Hughes, 4 periods, 2 games played, 3 points. And game-winning goal. Capo Caco, 24 periods, 8 games played, 0 points.
It's hey, listen. Let's just hope we get Jack back in the lineup sooner rather than later. We want him back, so he can produce more over there, and we'll let the Rangers whatever. I'm happy with Jack. That's for sure.
Yeah.
One thing also, speaking of young centermen on our team, one thing we did see a lot of good from Dawson Mercer. Obviously, his speed, the hair. 5 points here in 10 games. One thing, though, needs to work on his face-off skills. Not very good in the circle, which is going to be expected with a rookie. And, what's he, 19 or 20 now, 20-year-old rookie, get it. But that's one place where we'd like to see maybe just some improvements start to happen because those face-off numbers aren't too pretty there for him. So that's one thing I like to see a little bit of improvement on him, which I know he will get better at as he goes along.
So some big games coming up, the next 10 games. Let's go over real quick before we go. We got some
Florida. Doozies. Oh, boy.
You got a tough stretch here. Florida.
You got Florida
on Tuesday.
You got the Islanders, right?
Islanders. Boston, the big bad
Boston.
Bruins.
Yep. Then the Rangers,
and then, on the second half of a back-to-back. So then you have Rangers at Madison Square Garden. So the first 4 games is very tough, but 3 out of 4 is at home, which, I would consider the Devils playing well at home now, so I'm not worried about that aspect. And then you've got Ottawa on Tuesday night, November 16th. Devils go on the road, Florida and Tampa, which is going to be very tough.
That's going to be a very tough. That's going to be extremely tough. Yeah, Tampa and Florida back to back. I mean, two games against Florida right now. I mean, the Panthers they are on fire.
Yeah. You bring Minnesota right before Thanksgiving. Then on Black Friday at Nashville. And then you have the Flyers on November 28th. And then San Jose comes back on November 30th. Tough. Yeah, tough, so we got tough schedule.
We got a tough stretch. And there's going to be some good chances for us to see what this team is really made of. We're gonna get our grit tested here in these first couple games, especially against the Islanders are going to play us real tough. And then, the Florida Panthers right off the bat here on Tuesday. And then that trip also down to Florida with the Panthers and the Lightning. Whoo! That's going to be intense, but it's going to be a lot of fun too. So we'll have some good chances to see what these boys are made of. Please, please, please hit us up on YouTube Live, Twitter Live, Facebook Live. If we forgot anything that you wanted to talk about, let us know, and we'll make sure to keep an eye on it for the next time we talk, which Tuesday, Game Day Live. Sam Woo will be down there at Taj Lounge at 973 eating catfish. Eating catfish or the lobster tail, one or the other, because that's what he is. All right, we're going with the catfish against the Panthers. And then yours truly and Sam Woo will be back for a little Devils After Dark action post-game Tuesday night, hopefully celebrating a big win. It would be a huge win over the Florida Panthers. It'd be their first loss of the year. So I'm not counting the OT regulation. So let's see. See if the boys can do it. It'll be a good test, and Florida's going to come out swinging. So let's see. No more. Let's wait for someone else to score. Let's see if the Devils can go out there with that jump right from the get-go. Full 60 minutes, full 4 lines, and finish the game. Let's see if they can do it.
It's a big test. The next 10 games is a heavy-duty schedule. It almost feels like last season's schedule where there's a game every other day. And then you got the back-to-back weekend, Boston and the Rangers.
Hey, you know what they say? Florida's due for a loss, Samu. Florida's due for a loss. Come on.
Yeah. That's what they say. But you know what? The Devils can pull it off against Florida. It will give them a tremendous amount of confidence going against the Islanders, Boston Bruins, and the Rangers. But again, one game at a time. We'll be covering it. Game Day Live, Devils After Dark, Let's Go Devils Podcast Sunday edition, State of the Fan Address. We got it covered. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, dropping the podcast at midnight for your morning commute. For those like David Decker that would only watch for 5 minutes, go do their thing, and then next morning listen to the podcast wherever you find our podcasts. Where do you find us? Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
everywhere.
Audible. Yeah, iHeart app, Spotify, you name it, we're there. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Scotty. And we'll see you next time. Till next time, let's go Devils.